Welcome
back in the room.
Mad Science Films.
Hey, it was like we just here. Feels like we just filmed the show. Crazy, isn't it?
I just don't change my clothes, that's all. It is starting to stink up in my sex act, Nick. Anyway, guys, welcome back. I'm Jimmy P, filmmaker, sexual astronaut, and as ever, I am joined by my coquettish co-host.
Nice. James Morrissey, another filmmaker in the room, and I have no nickname, so yes. Not enough time has passed to decide on a nickname.
It's been weeks now, Jim.
It's been weeks.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm still working on it.
There we go. As per previous weeks, this format, these episodes, is us campaigning for forgotten masterpieces of genre cinema to be given the exquisite Blu Ray treatment. This week, yes. James M has chosen
Toxic Zombies. Ooh. Yes. There's a few AKAs. I'm sure Jim will go through them.
Yeah. Toxic Zombies, a.k.a. Blood Eaters, a.k.a. Blood Butchers, a.k.a. Forest of Fear. And
yes.
One factoid, sorry, Jim, you probably already know this, but one that I just find fascinating is technically still banned in the UK.
Really? I didn't dig it. Really? Why?
It was never resubmitted. So it was a video nasty.
Right, okay,
that was never resubmitted. I'm guessing for financial reasons, but yeah.
Well, yes, it needs to be. Yeah, so anyway, I'll give you so the synopsis is, after drug crops are sprayed with a chemical by a passing airplane, the growers of the crop are poisoned by the chemical and turn into zombie-like mutants. Now, that sounds like a very sophisticated storyline. So I had this recommended through a friend of mine, Mark, who's been very interested in what we're doing in terms of digging up old classics. So he's been on a hunt for me. Kind of is. I do give him cheese toasties and coffee though. So, so he brought this to me and I watched it and I enjoyed it. Now, for reasons, I think if you're coming into this cold, not really a history of enjoying horror films, not really a horror fan, you're not going to enjoy this one. But I think because of the background to the film and because there's obvious influences from blatantly George Romero, I took a lot from the film. So I did enjoy it. It's a bit of a slow starter. But then I find as it gets to the middle towards the end, it does pick up the ante a bit. So I did enjoy it.
A slow starter, dude. I thought.
Well,
it kind of packs it in. Is this? So you watched this fairly recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So when did you suggest this? End of last week, I think.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
I got it on the weekend and I rewatched it yesterday. Yeah, I dug it, mate. I dug it. I mean, I was skeptical. Something Toxic Zombies. You're kind of thinking trauma. This is
definitely. Yeah,
it's released 1980. I'm guessing shot late 70s. Part of that amazing. What I love about indie American cinema in the 70s and 80s was back when they were still shooting on film, and this looks like definitely 16mm shot. I love that. And bear with me. So I haven't looked it up in here. It might be in here, actually. Oh my God, that's a heavier book than I remember.
It's a big book.
Yeah. So this is all about like indie, genre American cinema. And the guy behind this, Stephen Thrower, has started to work with Arrow to do these box sets called the American Horror Project. And it's just finding all this obscure indie stuff which would have been lost to time. And this just reminds me of that. This would be like an ideal addition to one of those box sets. Absolutely loved it, mate. It's the same kind of thing like when we started making films, isn't it? And it works with zombie cinema. Is you've got a bunch of people, you've got the kit, you've got the flimsiest of ideas. Let's put on a show.
Yeah.
And what better thing than if you can make some thick bloods, do it. And to be fair, he had an idea. It may not be the most elaborate of ideas, but there were some nice kind of things running through the film that I really dug, mate. Yeah, good pick.
Definitely a lot of homages to Romero. Of course, Owlboy
shot in the same state, and obviously,
it's Pennsylvania, isn't it? Yeah,
a co-star as well in some of the Romero films with this one.
Yeah, it's definitely because what's his name? John
John Amplis. Yeah.
Amplis. Yeah, he's in the film.
He's kind of like a government stooge.
Yeah, and he plays like this government kind of, Thai, the man. It felt like that. Like a lot of Romero films have a social commentary of sorts, and this really felt like hippies versus the man. You know what I mean? Like the corporate, the military.
I dug it. I mean, it was a lot more basic than the Romero stuff, but if anything,
yeah.
I like the Romero stuff. It's always more subtext, and this was just this was like
definitely not handled with the finesse of a Romero, but definitely.
But it was nice to change it up because sometimes you take a Romero, and sometimes you're into kind of like subtextual comments on commercialism, like in Dawn of the Dead, and sometimes
definitely
you want hippies turned into blood crazed maniacs chewing on limbs.
Yeah, definitely. Because there was a few shots in the film. I don't know if you noticed where the pilot, after he becomes one of these things, the way he enters the doorway with a hand is very similar to Barbara's brother when he comes back as a zombie in Night of the Living Dead. It's just very much the same shot. So things like that were popping up as I was watching. So, like I was saying when I started talking about this, is if you're a Romero fan and a horror fan, you'll see what this guy. Charles McCrann is trying to do. And where his blatant influences are coming from. And an interesting backstory to Charles McCrann. You probably read this yourself. This was his one and only film. He worked in the World Trade Centers. He was a businessman, and I think he cost up like $1 million. Very successful.
He was very proud of the film, even though it was not successful for him. I think he lost quite a bit of money on it.
Yeah.
Made it quite big. Lawyer, wasn't it? I think it was like a legal firm, which ended up in the Trade Center. And sorry, Jim, go on.
No, so he obviously was this corporate guy, but he had he loved horror films. So he made this film. He coughed up his own money. He passed away then in the World Trade Center terrorist attack in 9/11, which is a huge bummer. But so it was kind of sad. It's kind of a sad backstory to this film as well, in the sense that, but also inspiring as well, that this guy was a massive horror fan and he just put his money on the line to make a film. Like he could have just settled for his lifestyle and earned the money and had lavish, really nice lavish holidays and cars and all the rest of it. But there was a yearning inside to make a film. And I think we kind of connect with that, didn't we? We talked about this the other day about this need to create, this need to be creative, this constant wanting to do that. And it's like a burden, or but
for me, it's kind of bittersweet because this is not a bad film. This is not a bad film. We've watched much worse films where the filmmakers have continued to make bad films. This is much better than those, and yet, for whatever reasons, he was one and done. He made the one film and he was just like, that's it. And then obviously went on and did other things. So for me, that's kind of sweet because this is exactly the conversation I had with Jim last week, which was like, hey, those guys who do their 9-to-5 job and then go home and watch TV and then don't have that urge to do anything outside of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm almost jealous of that.
Yeah. But
I can't sit still. I can't rest. I need to be doing something creative. And I wonder whether, Charles McCrann, which was I don't think his actual name, but his director's name, I wonder whether because he looked back on the film fondly, it's been reported, I wonder whether he always kind of thought, maybe I'll make another one someday. And of course, his life was cut short, so never could do that.
Yeah, it is sad, but do you know what? At the very least, the man got to make his film, and I think that's awesome. Yeah. And there was some very good, similar to last week's film. Is going to be last week's film if this is. Yeah, I don't. Whatever.
Put this in bizarre order. So, what film were you talking about, Jim?
Srigala.
Yeah.
So this is so similar to Srigala. This also visually not as high production as Srigala, but definitely some really good. Low budget kind of great shots, particularly like the nighttime stuff where all of a sudden they had torches, these mutant zombies kind of remind me of like The Last Man on Earth kind of scenes. But you knew it's because, they didn't have the money for big lights. So what better else to do to have torches to light the scene, which great. It kind of works, you save money and it looks pretty cool. So there's a lot of really good kind of low budget, no light, but they made do scenes.
I dug that stuff. I dug the
Yeah.
fact that it wasn't just Romero zombies. Like there was a different rationale
Yeah.
behind it. Clearly inspired and a love letter to Romero. And obviously,
Definitely.
if you grew up in the same state, then wow, imagine, growing up so close to a filmmaker like that, you felt compelled to make your own kind of version on it. But there were little touches that I loved. Like you said, the torches and all of that. The fact that, they could use weapons, the fact that they could move faster and all that kind of stuff. I loved, there was a little insert shot where there were flies drinking the blood on the dead body.
Yeah.
Just a weird little touch, but you were kind of like, wow, what does that mean? Does that mean the flies are now infected and they can just go infect others and stuff like that? It was a little touch which just kind of separated them from, your typical Living Dead type zombie. And I loved, like you said, Jim, that kind of political message, which was like much more overt in this film. Like the opening scene where, there's two federal officers who just get out their car, tell somebody to freeze, they run, and then they shoot this woman. And it's fuck the man.
Yeah. Always in the neck. It was a lot of shooting in the neck.
And also topless, so the blood could run down.
Yeah, the titties. Yeah, there's a lot of titties in it.
Aggressive boobs within the first 2 minutes. I mean, hey.
I mean, that's always a winner. You're always gonna,
what horror fans wanted. So
you're definitely not gonna mark that down, And
I loved how it kind of wrapped up. And John Amplas, clearly they probably had him for 2 days. There was stuff with him at the beginning in an office.
Yeah.
Which I think was the same office that they used for like 5 different offices, but just changed.
Definitely. Yeah. Which is great. I love that. That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah. No, I'm well up for that. But then, later on, he's in the car at the end or whatever, and they're holding the survivors to gunpoint so the secret doesn't get out and all that stuff. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then the uptight good guy agent quits at the end, and it's amazing. It's like very simplified, nowhere near as subtle as Romero stuff. But as I say, sometimes you want like the cheeseburger rather than the steak, and this is the Romero cheeseburger. I'm well up for this. This is great. Yeah. So no, Jim, absolutely brilliant choice.
Yeah, and thank you, Mark, as well. I was just thinking the artwork is very good as well for this. I was just seeing that on IMDb. It's a really good artwork out there for
I'll make sure while we're talking about this and
popping it up. A
few of the amazing images that they've done. But that you're talking about like the painted one, the painted.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What's the tagline? They thought they were just killing some weeds. That's great. Instead, they grew a whole new kind of crop. Love it. Brilliant. Well done.
Right. So, Jim, anything more about the film itself?
Not really. Like I said, it was like, love letter to Romero, dug that, independent. That was obvious but endearing. Enjoyed that. I enjoyed thinking about the background, the whole production involved, like, how they lit scenes and stuff like that.
I think going back to what you're saying about it being an indie film, I think that energy shows. So I think like,
definitely.
It's your first film, so you're throwing everything in. You're doing those camera moves, which you do if it was your 4th or your 5th time.
Yeah,
it had that energy of that an indie low-budget film has, which perhaps something like Shrigala doesn't have, which was clearly made by industry professionals who weren't massive horror fans. I mean, the director obviously had worked in other horror, but it could be the DP just didn't care. He could be shooting a commercial the next day. Whereas these guys were, just excited, enthusiastic amateurs, and great. That energy kind of showed through.
Definitely. No, I enjoyed it. I mean, the zombies, I think that my only criticism was the obscurity of the zombies. Were they just cannibals or were they the undead? That wasn't quite, mapped out a bit, but then whatever, that's not, it's the end of the world, I guess. The acting was good for the circumstances. I mean, what's that?
I don't know, mate. I would say good. I think you're being generous, but cool.
I think it probably on the understanding this is low budget, and probably a lot of these were like, drama students and whatnot, So
I've seen
decent.
Worse. I've seen worse.
Yeah. Good for what it is. The casting of the kids was definitely kids in quotation marks. Yeah, they were definitely in their 20s, but
Some of them were 30s.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was a good one. So I think if you're a fan of indie film, you're a fan of Romero, you're a fan of obscure horror films, this is definitely one for you. And I think this needs a rebirth. You know what I mean?
I think if you're in the US, there might be an out of print DVD out there, but from what we can see, it's pretty much a bare bones release. So, Jim, obviously, what we're looking at is we're trying to get a Blu Ray label to pick this up and give it, the treatment it deserves. So, who do you recommend?
Definitely. Well, I was having a look at a few. There's a lot of good horror ones out there. There's a lot of good ones. Again, you got 88, the Synapse films. Arrow you got as well. Shout Factory, I think, might want to pick this bad boy up too. There's a lot. I think this could fit into a lot of different boutique labels.
Well, as I said earlier, I think Arrow would be best place as working with Stephen Thrower.
Arrow. Yeah.
I mean, if you guys haven't checked out the Arrow American Horror Project box sets, they've released 2 so far. This could slide into number 3.
Definitely, yeah. I think it's an all-rounder. This one.
They put the love and the care into the extras, and that would be
which would be great.
Just from the basic research we've done, amazing story.
Yeah, there's a huge backstory which I think would play well. I think is quite inspiring to a lot of filmmakers. You know what I mean? I think it'd be a very good documentary you could make of this film. So yeah, definitely a good one.
Alrighty. So if people dug this, Jim, what other films would you want to turn them on to?
Well, any Romero film.
Let's assume if they're watching this, they probably...
Okay, so I would say The Crazies is a good one. Romero's The Crazies. Last Man on Earth. Watch that. Vincent Price.
Vinnie Price one.
Yeah, the Vinnie Price one. Try out Omega Man if you want, but, it's a totally different film. Night of the Living Dead, that kind of stuff. Maybe you want to get a bit more up the kind of zombie ladder, maybe in the 80s, probably like I would say The Living Dead, maybe try that out. Good zombie fun.
Cool. I got 2. So again, staying with indie zombie type stuff. So there was The Dead Next Door by J.R.
Yes. Good one.
80s. That was more inspired by the films of Sam Raimi. But again, zombie and Romero, but zombie stuff, and again the kind of
brilliant film,
excitement of somebody's first feature, and making it. So definitely pick that up. And Zombie Nosh. So
Zombie Nosh,
directed by I think is it Bill Hinsman? So the guy who played the first zombie in Night of the Living Dead, the graveyard zombie, went on and directed a film. And the copy I have or had. On DVD was called Zombie Nosh. I think it's got like 8 other titles as well. But again, it's that 80s, let's get a camera, let's make a zombie movie kind of thing. And it's bizarre because there's, again, the acting's not great, but there are moments where there's like, the human survivors are under siege, they're trapped in a building. And somehow, despite my best efforts, I actually cared about these characters. And I was just like, I want these guys to survive. I don't know why. Yeah. They weren't the best actors. It wasn't the best written film, but you kind of like sympathized with them enough that it kind of won me over. So Zombie Nosh had loads of other titles. I can't even remember them, but my copy, which I think was released on, remember Vipco?
Vipco, yeah.
Where it just had the title in massive gold or white writing.
Yeah.
Or the video cover. So if there's any other films that you guys dig as well that you think we'd enjoy, either related to Toxic Zombies or otherwise, let us know in the comments. Yeah, we can't wait to see what you guys come up with.
Definitely.
Ideally, nothing that's already got an amazing Blu-ray release, so we can help these undiscovered gems. And Jimmy, take us away.
So if you like this video, like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Hit the notification bell. And any comments, leave in the comment section down below. Yes, awesome. That is done. We're done for another week. Until next time.
Be kind. Please rewind.